All right. We're going to call to order the 268th session of the 10th Council. Invocation by Pastor Kathy.
Our Heavenly Father, at this time of the year, we're very conscious of you. And so we ask, Lord, that today you would bless this room full of people, give them new memories to make as we approach a new year, and let this meeting be filled with your love, for we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Count down. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Carter, Miller, Petula,
I'm here.
Shramsky,
Present.
Taylor Burks, Waterman, Williams.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
All right, Mr. Clerk, I need an authorization to excuse Councilwoman Miller, Pro Tem Carter, and Councilwoman Doris Taylor Burke.
So moved to excuse for personal reasons.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Petula,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes.
Waterman,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
4 yeas, 1 nay.
Okay, and so before we get to amendments to and approval of the agenda, I have a surprise for all of my colleagues. So we will start in the order that I pulled them out of the box. I want to start with Councilwoman Waterman. Excuse me, Councilwoman. Just right behind you. Okay. Don't open it yet.
Okay.
All right, all right.
Okay.
Councilwoman Shramsky. Thank you. Councilwoman Petula. Here you go.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. So, on the count of three, I want everybody to open their box. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, how beautiful.
So,
I'm going to try.
if I can get my box open, it's a little tight.
I'm having the same problem. Okay.
So,
Well, I'm
I wanted to take,
maybe you can help.
yep. We'll wait for
Oh,
Councilwoman Petula.
you know what? There's a tie on the back. Has that got anything? No?
No, you should just be able to lift it out.
Want me to hold the bottom? It's really tight.
Yes. So anyway, while they're opening the box, each one of the awards says from the city of Pontiac for your service, commitment, and unwavering dedication. And the clerk is still working on the box.
Yeah, we're still working on it. You know what? The clerk needs one for working.
There you go. There
Thank
go.
you.
Okay.
The clerk needs a gift just for working so hard to open it.
So thank you, and I want to thank Attorney Sharp for ordering these awards.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to take a minute, especially before we go into the Christmas season, and let each of my colleagues know not only how much I appreciate them, but how much the city has appreciated their service. And so I wanted to make sure not only that we would take it before the last meeting, because I know at the last meeting people are going to be emotional, but wanted to honor you guys before you go into the Christmas holiday season. And so if anybody would like to say something, now's a good time.
Well, since you gave me mine first, I sure do. Oh, you know, I hear you when you say, I've jokingly said, you know, can't wait for the day. But I'm going to truly miss. It has truly, truly been an honor serving with each one of you. Some of us have served with one another longer than others, but you are my brothers and my sisters. To Attorney Sharp, you have been my confidant in so many things, and I will miss seeing you. It has truly, truly been an honor to represent this city and serve District 1. I have met so many people, and you have allowed me to grow. You truly have allowed me to grow in myself and in my thinking about a lot of things that goes on in this city. You know, I was an employee here for over 23 years, but sitting here as a council person was a totally different perspective. And I tried to hold this position with the highest of esteem. And when I have people come up to me and say, thank you, and you'll be missed, you just don't know what that does for me. So thank you for this beautiful award. Believe me, I will cherish this every day from the bottom of my heart. And I wish you all the very best. I wish the very best to the new administration that's coming in and to the new council that's coming in. Whatever I can do to help some of you make your transition an easier transition, know that I'm there for you because I believe in this city. If I didn't believe in this city, I wouldn't have sat here for 12 years to try to do what I've done to make this city a better city in which to live in. So God bless you all, and thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Mr. President, if I might. I'm going to move this for a minute. I know last week I looked and, oh my goodness, here it is over here, so I moved it over here this week. I would like to say thank you to District 3. District 3 has trusted me and entrusted me with the district and the decisions that we made at the city level, and I appreciate that. I worked with some of the residents there. Some of the residents did not come out to work with. There wasn't a whole lot I could do, but I wish the best of luck to the new council. It would have been nice had they participated and we knew what was going on, but they're there now, so this will be an interesting session coming up. I want to thank my council colleagues. Some of you I have worked, Kermit and Patrice, with 12 years, and I appreciate it. I think we all gave a little bit to each to grow. Garland, thank you for coming on board. As Megan, I appreciated every moment we spoke, talking and working together. And for the rest of the citizens, I thank you for being here and being supportive. And for those, when you came down and you corrected us, well, that's your opinion and ours is different. There's not much I can say about that. But we all have a wonderful day. Merry Christmas to you all that are here. Merry Christmas to you at home. And thank you for our department heads, because they do listen, they do talk, and they do share their thoughts as well as hear our thoughts. And I am grateful that we have those department heads on hand. Thank you much. Goodbye. Can I go home? It's my daughter's 37th birthday, by the way, so I want to go home.
All right. Happy birthday. All right. Councilwoman Shramsky?
I'll try and make mine brief. As you know, I've been recovering from illness. I'm a little discombobulated. But I want to thank all of you for appointing me. And if those of you who are not aware, I've stood right there about where that heating vent is by the camera for 25 years. That's why I was appointed up here. You will see me standing right back there by that heating vent because I have some things that I want to make sure are done. Not just in my district, but in the city. I would particularly like to thank my colleague who's not here, Randy Carter, for giving me everybody's cell phone number when I came in. But hey, I've also taken the rap. They've called me up, Councilwoman Shramsky, well, why did you tell those citizens to call? Well, I'll just tell you, it wasn't me. I didn't give out your cell phone number. It was somebody else. Now, I know that the department heads, I want to thank each and every department head and the city attorney and Vern in planning, because I call you constantly. I call all the department heads all the time, and I email them all the time, and I text and call the mayor all the time. I'm very persistent, nagging. I'm very nagging that I want things done. And in all the people I met in my district who perhaps didn't know me before, I'm glad to have met you. And good luck to the incoming council, because you're really going to need it.
Council President,
Yes, Attorney Sharp?
I would just like to say thank you to this council for giving me an opportunity. I started February 15th of 2017. And for me, it was a really dark time because I just lost my grandmother, and I had been a caregiver for a couple of years. And it was just a really bad time. But you guys gave me an opportunity, saw something in me, and I thank you for that. It's been a difficult road. At times we agreed and we disagreed. But at the end of the day, we worked together as a team. And I'll miss you guys. And again, thank you for your service and commitment. And thank you for giving me a chance. Happy holidays to everybody.
Okay, Councilwoman Miller just got here, and so what you have in your box is an award for your commitment and service and unwavering dedication to the citizens of Pontiac. So now we're just opening the floor if you have anything you want to say to the citizens.
Actually, I was just thinking as I was coming in. I've been in the city so long, 14, 15 years working in the city, working on the opposite side. And I was coming in with such relief saying, I'm getting ready to live my life. I'm getting ready to travel, have some fun, and not worry about the city for once in my lifetime. I'm going to just enjoy myself. I have my constituents, they're friends, they're not just constituency, they're my friends. I've been here all my life. I'll still see everybody, you still call me. Yes, the fight is in me. If something go wrong in my district, I'm here. Other than that, I won't be here. It's time for me to move on and enjoy life. And that's what I'm getting ready to do. Travel. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And we almost got a full roster today. Councilwoman Doris Taylor Burks, just wanted to thank you for your service and commitment to the citizens of Pontiac. And if you want to say anything, now's the time.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I will say that I have enjoyed every moment that I've spent up here and out on the street doing what I could do for the citizens that asked me to help them. And a lot of them didn't know that I was not their representative, but I just did it anyway, you know, because that's just the way I am. I have enjoyed my years that I've sit here on this council. We have had a lot of fun, and I think we have made a lot of good movements for the city. I I can't say that I'll miss it. Because you just don't know what some of the things that we go through, because we don't talk about it. But I have enjoyed my years here. I am the elder person on the council. Since everybody is so worried about how old I am the elder council on the council at this time. And I have enjoyed every minute of it, because all of these are considered my children, especially that one. She's been mine for a long time. And we've just had a lot of fun. Sometimes of course, you're not going to always agree. Families don't always agree. But we sit down, talk about it, discuss it, say, well, we're going to get Monique and ask her. And when she get through with us, we say, okay, thank you. So it's been enjoyable. I can't say I'm going to miss it, because I'm not going to miss it. I will be doing other things, because I belong to other auxiliaries in this city and other cities too. So, but I wish everybody well. I hope that the people that's coming aboard can move up. We bought it so far. Hope that they can move it up a little further. And I will be praying for everybody, every single person in this city, that our city can come back together again and be the city that it once was. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Taylor Burks. I'm going to be,
President, may I also be recognized, since we're giving greetings? I would like to bring short greetings to the gathering. May I do that at this time? I have something I want to present to each of the council people on the council, and that is a little heirloom City of Pontiac snowflake ornament. I would just like to say this is a good time to remember everybody. It's been a very accomplished season and term of working together with this council and the people here. And I'm going to pass out at this time, just to mark. I hope everybody will have a safe, wonderful holiday season. And I bring you greetings from the whole administration staff, particularly my past 2 terms. It's been a pleasure and honor to serve the citizens of Pontiac.
okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to be extremely brief, because we do have closing comments at the end. But I wanted to just take a moment to celebrate the council people and the hard work that's been done. 12 years ago, when I got sworn in with a couple of my colleagues, I was the youngest council person in history, and they worked with me throughout that process and really helped me mature as a human being. And so every Tuesday, I have learned from each and every one of you how to disagree on an issue and still have love for the individual that you're disagreeing with. And one of the things that I'll take as I move forward from this is that the city of Pontiac has some great people. Over the 12 years, we've lost a lot of people that started with us. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was take this moment to celebrate, because you don't know when you're going to have those moments again. So Attorney Sharp, you've saved the city of Pontiac millions of dollars. And I don't know if you will ever get the credit for the harm reduction that you were able to do sitting in that seat, but I want to honor you. And then Mr. Doyle, the hardest working clerk this side of the Mississippi. So I can only imagine what you've had to go through dealing with just running elections and trying to deal with marijuana throughout this whole process and able to do it. And so I want to thank you not only for your service to the city and your continued service. The last thing is to all of the city employees. Contrary to popular belief, I have a great relationship with most of the employees that work in the city. And they work hard for the city, and I believe that everybody who steps in this building has worked in their best interest. I won't call them out because I want them to keep having a job. But every time I've called or asked somebody to do something in the city, even above and beyond, when the Phoenix Center was falling apart, I was able to call one of the DPW staff, and they were right on it. And so it's just been a lot of people that may not have been honored in the way they should have been these last couple of years. But I'm hopeful for not only the future of the city of Pontiac, but I'm hopeful that everybody will have a great and blessed holiday season and move in a way of gratitude like never before. So thank you so much for indulging me with that time. And we're going to move to amendments to and approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
Item number 6 needs to be removed because that's been resolved.
Okay. Is
Mr.
there-
President,
is-
I'm going to ask that item number 7 be removed.
Okay, we need to vote on each of these items. So, it was a move, so she needs a support first.
Support,
Okay.
Mr. Sheriff,
For who?
This is for 6.
This is for item 6, yes.
that's for item 6.
Yep, we'll address them as they come along. Okay, so item number 6, has been moved and supported. Any discussion on item number 6 from the council?
Mr. President, I want to explain to you why item number 6 has been removed. The parties to the settlement, namely the city through the mayor's office and CPRO, have stated that they will not agree to pay for the $400 benefit. They want the cost for the benefit to be absorbed by the new GERS. That is not negotiable. The actuary for the retirement system stated that it would not be prudent for the new GERBs to absorb the cost. That new GERB simply cannot afford to pay for this benefit on a permanent basis because the new GERS has to stay at 130%. And if we were to observe that, it would drop down to 113%, and that's the reason why this is being removed.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call?
Petula,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks,
Yes,
Waterman,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Councilwoman Petula had a motion to remove item number 7. Is there a second?
I second.
May I explain why?
No, we don't need no.
So it's been moved and seconded? Okay, any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes, I did ask to explain why. I was told no by another council person.
Go ahead,
but good
Councilwoman Petula.
investment.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Petula.
We have 2 meetings left, and we do need to conduct city business. Yes, we all have a problem with the way the mayor handles things at times, but we are about city business, and we know that she's gonna walk out if we do support this. So I'm gonna ask that we remove this so we can go, we have contracts that need to be passed. We have contracts coming up. And we don't know what's gonna come to us next week. And we need to be able to conduct the city business. That's what this council is about. And 2 weeks, we should have done this 2 years ago. But we're doing it 2 weeks to the end of the term. So can we please remove this so we can conduct city business and go forward?
Okay, are you finished, Councilwoman Petula?
I am.
Okay, Councilwoman Waterman?
Yes, I understand what Councilwoman Petula has stated, but I guess for clarity for me, what is in this resolution that is not true?
When she gets, I want to speak to Mr. President.
Okay. Councilwoman Waterman, are you finished?
I'm done. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, Councilwoman Miller?
Well, I myself, she said something that I wasn't, I wasn't aware. She said if we were to vote for this, she would walk out. That would be on her. That's showing her character.
Which means that we can't
Excuse me,
conduct
the
city
Councilwoman
business.
Miller has
You
the
don't get
floor.
to- That's showing her character. We've worked for the citizens. I had a lot of decisions up here that I didn't agree with, but I didn't get out and walk out. It's just what it is. The vote goes the way it goes. We all work for different districts, and we all work for different people. And the mayor worked for the whole entire city. So it would be just bad on her end, knowing that she doesn't have a deputy mayor just to walk out. And no, we can't conduct business. That's something I wouldn't put in the airways. I mean, that's childish. Thank you, Mr. President. That's all I want to say on the record.
Okay. Councilwoman Shramsky?
Well, I am not in favor of this resolution because we do need to conduct city business. And I think it would be better if you want to discuss exactly why you're displeased than actually have a vote of no confidence. That's just my viewpoint. Thank you.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, this is the resolution that Councilwoman Miller brought up, and I believe that not only is this factual, but it needs to be voted on in addition, because certain things that have happened, particularly over the last 8 years, need to be in the annals of history so the next council and the following councils can know. And as we are redoing the charter, these things need to be listed so hopefully the people who are on the Charter Commission can safeguard the city from some of these injustices that happen. But I'm going to call for the vote on removing this from the agenda.
There's one thing, though, Mr. President. I didn't ask for no vote of no confidence because I never felt any confidence all along. Remember, we got into the discussion talking about the Pirate Center, and you brought up that we'll do a no confidence vote. And so that's how that got started. Me, myself, I'm going out on record of saying that I never got anything done in my district with the administration. I said, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a person that lie. I'm just going to tell the truth. So it's not all that kumbaya to me. My district have hurt in the last 4 years. And hopefully in the next 4 years to come, they won't have administration to do what they did in my 4 years. My 4-year tenure was a nightmare to me. But at some point, I'll get out there on the other side and I'll speak on it. Because there's a lot of discrepancies, a lot of things in this city that citizens need to be told about this government. So that's how. So my vote of no confidence, whole city can know I have no confidence in the things that we passed and she never adhered to it. Never did.
Okay, Attorney Sharp?
I would just say that, again, that resolution, that was something that council had a discussion about on the floor. You guys indicated that you wanted a resolution. Maybe the words of no confidence weren't specifically stated, but that was in essence what you asked for. So that is reflective of your discussion. In addition to the fact, I guess I'm having some difficulty with the fact that this is tied into the mayor potentially walking out, because they really should not go together. I guess that would be the mayor's choice if in fact she decided to walk out, and I would think that wouldn't be a way of addressing city business, knowing the seriousness of the other items that are on the agenda. In addition to the fact, we've dealt with this issue of the mayor giving the clerk a letter nominating the deputy mayor, which obviously that can't happen. But I just want to draw you to 4.104 of the charter that states that the mayor's absence has to be to an emergency or disability. It's not just because she doesn't want to show up or she wants to leave. Thank you.
Okay, all right, roll call?
Shramsky,
Yes to remove?
Taylor Burks,
That's government.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, in the gallery, can we be quiet?
The agenda.
To remove,
Yeah. Do you want to remove the resolution of no confidence in Mayor Deidre Waterman from the agenda?
yes.
Yes, say it into your microphone.
Waterman,
No.
Williams,
No.
Miller.
You can remove it.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
Petola,
Yes.
Not because she's going to walk out.
4 yeas, 2 nays.
Okay,
President,
yes.
item number 5 is the emergency extension of the $400 benefit. Council was not in possession of the required actuarial study. In fact, the GERS board is holding a special meeting tomorrow to approve that. So council cannot act on that pursuant to state law.
Okay, so we need a motion to remove item number 5.
So move.
Also, Council
Police and
President,
fire.
Also, Council
Oh,
President.
that's police and fire?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I apologize.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, that is correct.
Excuse me,
So let me withdraw my.
One meeting, it wasn't seconded, so it's fine. Okay. Any other amendments to the agenda?
Yeah, Council President, the other amendment, there was an agenda item that was sent over by the administration that should have been on this agenda.
And what
That is
agenda item was that?
revised medical marijuana rules. The clerk was incorrect in saying this was the same
Yeah,
issue.
so, excuse me, Madam Mayor, Madam Mayor,
Agenda, I'm just bringing that to the council's attention.
it's nothing to bring to the council's attention. The council duly voted not to accept the original rules of the Marijuana Commission. After that particular meeting, it was noted that the current mayor could not stand on the Marijuana Commission. Noting that she could not stand on the commission, they had then a subsequent non-meeting because there was not parties to vote to amend rules. So that is a moot point. And then according to Attorney Chubb, which I don't agree with, but his opinion is that the council cannot vote on any items without the mayor being present, which I don't believe is part of the charter, but even according to your own attorney, then it would not be clear. So just wanted to put that to the record. Also,
Mr. President,
yes,
will you repeat what you just said? What you just finished saying, that's something that, about the charter?
what the city attorney, Jamarco Mullins and Horton, put together a memorandum that says that the council cannot vote if the mayor is not present in the meeting. That hasn't been challenged in court. I don't necessarily agree that that is the point, but even by that opinion, then the mayor would be out of order for trying to put a resolution on the agenda that has been properly
But did you
dispatched
say
by the
that
council.
he said that was in the charter?
No, he said that we could not vote on any items with the mayor not being there, which is so flawed in so many ways, but that's not the issue. The issue is, according to what they believe, the memorandums that have been sent, the Marijuana Commission did not properly meet because there are not commissioners. According to the charter, the mayor cannot sit until after a year after. So she appointed herself to the commission, which was illegal at the time. So any thing that came out of any meeting that they had was fruit from a poisonous tree. You can't do something that's illegal and then justify the illegality of it by having the council then vote on something. So that's why last week we removed this item and the mayor was in attendance while we removed the item from the agenda. So there is no new rules to be voted on because there is no new appointees to the commission that have met and discussed what rules they want to bring to the council for adoption. So that's where we are on that.
Council President, there was
yes.
something that you said that was incorrect.
Listen,
Misquoted the city attorney, and City Attorney John Clark would like a chance to address
listen,
that.
regardless,
That's not what the
listen,
charter says, and that's
excuse me.
not what Attorney Chubb said about, you cannot vote unless the mayor is here. The
So
charter
what did he
clearly
say? Go ahead, Attorney Clark.
Mayor
Give
or
me
alternate
clarity,
need
give me
to be
clarity,
there,
Mr. Clark.
Just to make sure
Mr.
that
Clark,
that's not
go ahead, Mr.
correctly
Clark.
misinterpreted.
No, I mean, the charter makes clear that the mayor is not here. She has the right to appoint a designee in her absence.
Yes, which she has not.
I have.
So this is what I'm saying. She can, we've been through this several times. She can appoint a designee of her choosing, and it has to be in writing to the clerk
I have.
before, not by email from a staff member at the council meeting. And secondly, she sent out another appointment this morning
Yes.
to a person that is not confirmed by the council, because which the charter requires, which the reason of the non-appointment is not because the council disagreed with the mayor's appointment. The mayor never provided a contract, which is due to the council before you spend over $10,000. So what I'm saying to you, Attorney Clark, and to Madam Mayor, for clarity's sake, just to be really germane, the Marijuana Commission cannot meet with illegal people, period. Everything else is a moot point. The bottom line is you're having rules from a non-meeting that you are trying to put on the agenda to verify the non-meeting to the citizens of Pontiac, which is incorrect and why it was removed. But we're going to move on with approval of the agenda. So I would ask that we move items number
sheriff contract.
Yeah, I got that, I got that
It
too.
needs to be the first thing.
No, it doesn't. But I hear you. You guys have very clearly made your point on what you wanted on this agenda and what you didn't. So, I would ask that we move item number 11 and 12, right after item number 3, item number 15, then 14, after items number 11 and 12. 11 and 12, and 15, then 14 after 12. So it should read 3, 11, 12, 15, 14.
And didn't we vote to remove 7?
What- Yes, so I didn't mention 7, so.
No, you didn't. But
Exactly,
it's that
so
one that's supposed to be
We've
removed.
already voted on that. We voted on that foolishness, so we already did
I
that.
see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
also, there should have been a resolution that should have been placed on here as it relates to the valuation for the extending enhancement, the field, the gap field. That should have been on here. I need to know what's going on with that.
I can answer that, Council President.
Yep, go ahead, Madam Mayor.
This is a new agenda item, so our finance director is, along with the city attorneys, is preparing that for the December 28th study session. So that will be ready with the resolution as well as the strategy behind doing that. Councilwoman.
We voted on this matter. It was just about, we were waiting for the valuation to come. Deborah just left. The valuation has been completed, so this should have been taken care of, should have been put on the agenda today. Because why would you put something on study session when we could have been voting on this today?
Well, we understood that was the rules, that council only wanted new agenda
Sometimes,
items, so
if
that's why
you
we were
come
prepared it that way.
before, when you know that that is something of importance, it should have been taken
That
care
should
of.
have come from last week.
That's it, Mr. President, thank you.
Okay, so I need a motion to move items 11, 12, 15, and 14 after item number 3.
So moved.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Taylor Burks. Waterman.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller. Petola.
Yes.
Shramsky.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
Now,
Mr. President?
yes.
I'm sorry. Ms. Munson has just walked back in, and I would like for you to give her a point of privilege so she can explain about the valuation that is being presented, so we can move forward with the extension for the gap.
Okay, so you want to do that after we approve the agenda?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, all right, so we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Waterman.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller. Petola.
Yes.
Shramsky. Taylor Burks. 6 yeas, no nays.
Okay, all right. The agenda is approved. All right, Ms. Munson, would you please take the microphone?
Good afternoon. I want to be clear with respect to your, I'm sorry, Councilwoman, is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. With respect to the March 31st termination valuation that the board will be acting on tomorrow, is that your question? I'm sorry.
The valuation to extend, we did a resolution, as it stated. I needed to know if that paperwork has been forwarded so we can move forward on extension of this $400 until the health care comes in.
That is correct. You all should have received a copy of that valuation, the supplemental analysis to continue the $400 for 1 year for the general employees retirement system. You all should have received that last Friday. I believe the finance director plans to bring that forward as an emergency ordinance on next Tuesday.
could have been a day.
If that's the pleasure of the council.
I just wanted my colleagues to know that. Thank you, Ms. Munson.
Okay. All right, which brings us to item number 1, approval of minutes from December 14th, 2021.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Williams,
Yes.
Miller, Petula,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks, Waterman.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Okay, all right, which brings us to item number 2, public safety.
It's been submitted, it's in the packet, and I would ask that it be approved by reading.
Okay, recognition of elected officials. Any elected officials in the audience? Okay, all right. We're gonna move on to item number 3, which is a public hearing on reprogramming community development block grants, CDBG funds from home senior housekeeping services to senior services and youth services for program year 2019 and 2020. Before we get started, is Ms. Phillips here? Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna open the public hearing at 12:44.
It wouldn't be you if you didn't.
Hello, my name is Billy Swayzer, 1619 Marshbank Drive in Pontiac. And I'd like to know what is this reprogramming of the block grants funds from the senior housekeeping services to the senior and youth services? What does senior and youth services entail, and what would that mean for the citizens of Pontiac? Because otherwise, we're already paying for youth services through our taxes. We need to have this for senior services only. Thank you.
Anybody else for the public hearing? Public hearing, public hearing,
It's a public hearing, it's not a
public hearing. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 12:45, which brings us to item number 11, which is a resolution to approve the submission to the community development block grant application for program year 2022, allocating $798,883 for sidewalks. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there support? It's been moved by Petula, supported by Taylor Burks. Any discussion?
Mr. President, I'm not mistaken, this is the, really the CDBG money that's going, that allocated all the sidewalks, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what about, the one for the Panthers? Is that the one we
That's
just?
item number 12.
12, okay. All right, thank you, that's all I need.
Okay, all right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Miller,
Yes.
excuse me, Petula,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks, Waterman,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
Okay, which brings us to item number 12. I do want to answer Ms. Swayzer's question from the public hearing. It would be $50,000 to Meals on Wheels, and then the rest would be divided
More than
between.
50,000 in Meals on
25,000
Wheels.
to,
It's 65,000 in Meals on Wheels.
Okay,
It's-
read it out, Ms. Clerk.
So it is a, through the president, is a reprogramming of $100,000, so $65,000 will be allocated to Meals on Wheels, $25,000 for Kids First Initiative, and $10,000 for Pontiac Panthers.
Now, I got a question for you, Mr. Clerk. I see that we got that 65 and 25. What if I wanted to put another agency? I have a number of calls, people saying, why not them? Why can't we give money to them, to their nonprofits? Which is true.
You can try it another time.
Say what,
This is
Gloria?
what we came up with, and everybody is not gonna get what they want, and I do believe Meals on Wheels is deserving of this because they take care of the seniors, and that's what they benefited for the seniors.
Have you ever had a Meals on Wheels brought to you at your home? Because it's an open can of green beans,
And a
not cooked,
And a bucket
dumped in a
crab.
bowl.
I agree with you, Mary, for once.
And they
You know,
brought it
reason
to
I
the
said that-
senior center. That's what we had.
So hold on before,
Let me just
hold
say
on,
this.
hold on, before y'all go down this route. I just want to clarify, really quickly. If you disagree with how the money is being programmed or what agency is programmed to, let's not denigrate the programs on the way to do that. What I'm saying to you is everybody has their caveat. We just allocated $800,000 to sidewalks, and the sidewalks haven't been done in quality since the time any of us have been here. I don't understand why the portion of that money wouldn't be used or reprogrammed for these services. Right now, we're at the finish line with money from 2019, and now we're trying to change it at the end of the day. What I'm saying to you is there are many qualified programs in the city of Pontiac. And what I'm saying to you is the city has not shown responsible service with sidewalks. I can go down any street and look at it. There's no rhyme or reason, no study, no year to date. A citizen cannot go downstairs and say, when will my sidewalk be repaved? The city tore down, to the mayor's credit, almost 1,000 homes in the city of Pontiac. The problem is we didn't replace those slabs correctly on any of that property. So you've got property that used to be there that is no longer maintenance, that's no longer the homeowner's responsibility because there's no home, and we haven't repaved all of those. But we just allocated $800,000, and now I hear some rumblings 3 weeks in to this conversation about programs that I believe we all think are quality. So I understand the difference, and if there's some other opinion that people want to move money to do other things, I think that the 3 agencies that are represented here definitely could use the money and the agency. And so that is where I'm at with it. If there's an amendment, I think it should have been to that $800,000 that we just voted on for sidewalk money instead of trying to quibble about $100,000. But I'll turn the floor over to whoever wants to speak.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what, Mr. President? I'll be for putting all of it to the sidewalks. See, the problem I have with it, and I'm going to speak my piece before I leave here. I'm going to tell you the problem I have with it. We work for the whole city. And I'm going to tell you, it's a monopoly. Seems like certain people are getting certain things. That's what I'm going to do on the other side when I go on the other side. Certain people getting certain things. This agency that I'm talking about, they feed more hungry people than I've ever, people off the street begging. And their meals are cooked good. They're good quality meal. They struggle. And to them, it looks like this body gives it to the same people all the time. It's not different people in the community. It's not that person over there that needs one. It's not that person over there. It's who we pick. I don't work for them. I work for the people. And that's why I was saying, let's distribute it to everybody. Maybe every council person should go down the road and say, maybe, hey, let's give to that. Because we work for everybody in the city, not just for Meals on Wheels. I don't have no problem. Meals on Wheels, she lives in my district. But I'm just a fair person. There's other people out there that's serving the people right now hungry, needs money. And I was looking, I said, well, why not give something to them too? Because they have to be accountable for the money. So it's not like they're gonna blow it. And that's all I was saying is I don't have no problem with Meals on Wheels, but they always get all the big bundle. Why not give it to other agencies that's nonprofit in the city that are doing the same thing? That's all I'm saying.
What I'm going to speak for clarity.
Right.
Meals on Wheels has never been approved for any money through block grant money through the Pontiac City Council ever in history. So I just want to put that out. These are all first-time recipients if they get it approved. So I just want to make that clear that this has not been something where we've been funding Meals on Years for 9 years straight, and this is there. But what we have been funding is sidewalks. Every year I put $100,000 plus into sidewalks, and the city sidewalks don't look any better than they looked before I started. And so to say we want to dump all the extra money into sidewalks when they haven't been done right is, we work for the people, right? And so if you go down Anderson Street right now, you're not gonna see sidewalks where my senior citizens had to walk in the middle of the street. So, I mean, if we're gonna be honest about services and people who are serving, if you go and pull the audit reports for all of these groups, they've been doing what they're supposed to do. So I just wanna put that out there beforehand. Anybody else wanna speak? Okay. Roll call?
I said all I needed to.
I don't think you never got I don't have a move-in support
Mr. President,
for this one, for 12.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilwoman.
as far as Meals on Wheels is concerned, she has been out there for a long time without, and serving the people and making sure, especially that the seniors got food. I have been knowing her for a very long time, since she started. And I've never, ever known her to come to the city council or any place else and ask for anything. She and her family was taking care of everything. Well, things turn in life, as you should know by now. Things that used to be is no more. We all are struggling. So why can't we help her, since she's been kind enough to spend her own money for many years, and now we want to throw her aside? I think that's wrong. I think if she needs some help, we should help her, because she has never, ever, that I know of, come to up here and ask for anything. She's always spent out of her pocket, and I know this for a fact, because I've been knowing her for a very long time, and I know when she started. And it was way before I became a council person. I was doing something else. So I think it's wrong to not help her, especially when she is concerned about seniors that's no relation to her. She might not even know them, but she's concerned about them. And I think it's wrong not to help her. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Okay, is there a motion? Because
Mr.
hold
President.
on, we got to go through the process. Is there a move?
I move.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Hold on now.
Which number, President?
This is number 12. This is number 12. We
Number
already,
11.
everybody
You did
else
vote
can
on it.
speak
We voted
except
on
for
it.
me,
Hold
because
on,
we
it's-
haven't gone through the process, but they all spoke before we went through the process.
and then the clerk just informed me that I did not have a move and support. I thought this was discussion, so I wanted to wait for a move and support and then open it up for council discussion, and then you would have an opportunity to speak.
Although you had everybody.
So thank you. So it's been moved and supported. We're on item number 12. Now, is there any discussion?
I do
Councilwoman
have
Peeler.
comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
And my comments is yes, they do a service to the city, but I will tell you, and I'm just being honest. They served meals during the election time when they wanted Alexandria to come into McDonald Senior House and to speak. They served us rigatoni with sauce, had more pasta than it did sauce or meat, and it also had cold green beans that you open up out of a can, and it's just open the can and dump it. And that's what they did. And for them to turn around and to do it, it's not berating anybody, it's speaking the truth. That's what they served to 50 seniors as they tried to get them to sign up for Meals on Wheels. So I can't support this with Meals on Wheels attached to it after I know what they did where I live. Thank you.
Mr. President, excuse me, but I'm so sick and tired of people coming up here disparaging people. Meals on Wheels goes over to the Bowen Center, and they feed the seniors over to Bowen Center. They feed the seniors at Ruth Peterson. You see those trucks going up and down the street every day, trying to bring people. I remember Councilman Donald Watkins sitting here saying if it was not for Meals on Wheels, his grandmother wouldn't have had a meal. They come at Christmas time. They come at Thanksgiving time. And y'all want to sit here and begrudge somebody that's coming out here taking care, and it's black, white, green, blue, Hispanic, Everybody gets taken care with Meals on Wheels, and how dare y'all come in here and try to slander those people. I will not allow that to happen.
Well, I won't allow the people in this city
God,
to
get
be
out of here
served
with that. Get out
substandard
of here
meal.
with that one.
And when you're feeding them,
That
That's
might have been a
awesome.
once-in-a-lifetime
It is.
thing, but we can have this room filled up with seniors in here that would say they appreciate what Meals on Wheels does.
Okay, roll call.
That's what they
Roll
want.
call.
Substandard
Roll
food.
call, Mr. Clerk.
Miller,
Dare you?
What we voting on? I forgot what we.
Item number 12.
number 12.
No.
Petula,
Then you're
No.
denying your Panthers too?
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks.
Yes.
Waterman,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
4 yeas, 2 nays.
All right, which moves us to item number 15, which is resolution to authorize the mayor to sign Oakland County Sheriff 2021-2022 law enforcement agreement.
So moved.
Who's presenting from administration?
Mr. Jeremy Bowie is here. He, through his law firm, Perkins Law Incorporated, has been newly retained as in the role of the purchasing agent contract compliance officer. So we thank him for being part of these contract compliance
Say
and
who?
contract negotiations, and he's here to present this.
Say what?
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, and Mr. Bowie, please don't take any offense by what is about to happen. So I just want to kind of get clarity on how we're hiring people to do purchasing functions and other things outside the scope of work without a contract being presented to the city council. And how much is this contract?
And are you working for us?
Excuse
or
me,
her?
excuse me, I had the floor. Thank you. Go ahead, Madam Mayor.
This is for a position in the administration that the CEO, the mayor, along with the HR department, has the authority to appoint and to hire people to perform those administrative functions. That is what this has done, and that's how he is serving in that capacity. I was just explaining that to council.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor.
In that capacity.
Madam Mayor, just for clarity, how can you hire a firm for a position?
We hire them as an independent contractor.
So when you have an independent contractor
Yes.
doing a position that's not a lawyer, then the funding has to be approved by the city council. I asked you very clearly, how much was the contract and when did we approve it?
It's not a contract, it is a position in the budget. The position is
What-
administrative.
So how are you paying somebody because the budget exists without a contract? So I'll ask this question to Mr. Bowie. Mr. Bowie, do you have a contract with the city?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Madam Mayor, hold on, just very clearly. The mayor just told the general public that you don't have a contract, that you are being paid because the budget has positions in the budget, and that's paying you. So either this highly upstanding gentleman, who's a lawyer, who could lose his license for lying, is lying right now, or the mayor misspoke when she said he didn't have a contract. So now that we have agreed that he has a contract, where is the contract so you can present it to the
He
council so
is-
the council can vote on
Okay,
it?
this position is, and Jerry, maybe you can explain it to him, because it is a little out of the usual. But there is we are hiring them to fill an administrative position as an independent contractor. So the contract agreement they're talking is actually an employment agreement, but it's an employment agreement for an independent contractor.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, the charter clearly says, and Mr. Clark, I'm glad you're here today. The charter says that the mayor, upon her own authority, can hire lawyers to do legal work.
Yes.
Hold on. And she can also hire accountants. The purchasing agent is neither one. So, Mr. Clark, please explain to me how the mayor, who's the administrator of the city, can hire people with legal contracts, which is the legislative body of the city, without any council approval.
So, Council President, I have not seen a copy of the purported contract. And so without knowing more particulars about the exact function, I believe he is providing some legal analysis as part of his function.
He's shaking his head.
So I would have to review the agreement and also get clarification of exactly what services he's providing before I could opine as to whether the contract would fall under the council purview or under the mayor's authority.
Excuse me, hold on, Mr. Clark. How can anybody be working in the city without the city attorney reviewing those contracts? That is your primary function.
Yeah, and I can't speak for Mr. Chubb or one of my partners who may have. I personally have not reviewed it.
Okay, Attorney Sharp, and then we'll just vote on this contract as if Mr. Bowie's not here, because we do need to have law enforcement for the city, and I don't want to hold that up by shenanigans that the administration is playing. Attorney Sharp.
But if I heard the mayor correctly, the position in which this firm was hired is not a legal position.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. It is position under the administration, and it just happens to be somebody who's filling the position who happens to be an attorney. So we get the advantage
So
of his
there-
attorney.
No.
And Jeremy,
no, no.
Mr.
Just
Bowie
because
is
he's an
nodding,
attorney,
so
you
he
don't get
agrees
to
with
use
that
the
contract.
fact that he's an
Mr.
attorney.
Bowie, you better
to
run.
justify the
Better get
contract.
out of here.
That's the whole point.
Don't scare him
So-
away.
Just
folks.
because
So-
he's an
Better run.
attorney doesn't justify the fact that
So,
No,
you get to circumvent the
Amen.
council. with
I'm
the
not sure
contract.
what the point is here, but he is here to present.
The point is, you have people working illegally for the city, Madam Mayor. This is what I'm saying to you. I have no problem with Mr. Bowie. All I wanted you to do was present the contract to the council, and you can say the scope of service that he's providing. The council can then vote on that, and then you can pay the man a check,
He is
or the
hired
company.
as
What
the
I'm
mayor.
saying to you, Madam Mayor, is you are running roughshod through this charter with blind abandonment. So much, sir, and my colleagues didn't think that you needed a vote of no confidence. If anything shows that this was a need of no confidence, this is it right here at this moment. So I'm going to ask Mr. Bowie to please sit down, and then we'll vote on the sheriff contract. And then Attorney Clark, if you can have a memorandum with the printed contract that Mr. Bowie has for us for next Tuesday, that would be sufficient.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the sheriff's contract is in our packets, and so they do have a high cost increase, but I do want to tell my colleagues that the whole county and all the other municipalities have already signed their agreement, even though we did not get to negotiate. And so I don't want the people to be blindsided when they see the numbers increasing from 1.9 to 2.7 in one contract year, and think that the council didn't do everything in its power to stop that. But we are here, and the contract expires before the end of the year, so we need to take an action on that. Is there a move and support?
So moved.
And then we'll open it up for discussion. Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's been supported by Waterman. Okay, Councilwoman Shramsky.
I'm just a little concerned with this because the first meeting we had after the election, the one we had at the library, I forget his name, but their representative, he said he had no problem extending it to the new administration for that month.
Right, I don't think we should do this.
Yeah, I don't either. And it's not that I'm against their contract,
Right.
it's just it's 3 years and we don't know what he wants to do. We don't know what negotiations the new administration and council may want to do. And they did say that they had no problem with that. So I don't know, Mary, can you speak to that?
I can't. All I can say is we have the contract in front of us. I don't speak for the sheriff department. If you were at the meeting on Wednesday, you could have asked the questions, but you didn't. So I do know that we have 95 deputies now. We'll have 107 deputies at the end of this contract.
So,
And I do know that we have road patrol out there and they are pulling in numbers.
so, what I would ask to do, because I did speak to Commissioner Powell about this, I would like to also hear from Mary Lett Grimel, because I believe they're all on board with the 3-year contract, but I want to afford everybody the opportunity to hear it. But just know that we are up against the deadline of the 3 years, because what we asked for as a council was a year extension for the new council to be able to decide what they wanted to do with the contract. But I believe they have been in negotiations. The sheriff has talked to the new council. And so, but if we can get something from them, probably in writing, will be helpful so everybody can be on the same page and vote. Is everybody amenable to suspending this for 1 week?
Mr. Chair,
Council
may I just
President.
advise you of a certain timeline
was
here? The
Yeah.
contract expires with the Sheriff's Department December 31st.
Right.
know that.
Yeah.
Contracts, but the county origin and contacts have to also be approved by the county commission. So just the council changing it, city council, leaves us on a precipitous of not having approved contract with the city, with the sheriff's department after December 31st. So I just advise you, in whatever kind of changes you're trying to make.
So, Madam Mayor, I didn't say we were trying to make any changes.
All right.
What I said was there needs to be clarity spoken up. If you had have included the council in the decision-making, that you made as far as negotiating with the sheriff's department to get to this point, because they were under the impression, I'm talking about the county commission, that we had been at the table, talking about this step by step, which the council had not been apprised to any of it. I still don't have any memorandum from you whatsoever speaking of the council negotiations or how this settlement goes. What I did find out today that you had an unauthorized firm doing the work on this particular contract. So that is where we are with that. Attorney Sharp.
Going to say that this really, council doesn't have a choice
Right.
because of the fact that it's December 31st
Right.
is when the contract ends. You're not going to have I would hope that you wouldn't have a gap in services. You don't have an alternate source, so I really don't see where you have a choice.
So we have to vote on it today?
Mr.
I
President.
mean, waiting, what is that? I mean, is
Yeah,
that really
okay.
going to do anything different?
Okay.
Because you don't have any alternative.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
in speaking with Commissioner Powell, she gave me a lengthy, and I know she spoke with you, in stating that all other municipalities that are under the sheriff's division have signed these contracts, and due to the shootings that have taken place in Oxford, they are pushing this forward, and the city of Pontiac was the only one that didn't. I think they said that they would be amenable to trying to do a 2-year contract, but that would be something that would have to be dealt with the new administration when it comes in, and it was stated that this is something that we need to move forward, and when the new administration comes in, they could sit and possibly deal with trying to see if this can be a 2-year contract instead of a 3, because they would not go for a 1-year contract.
Yeah, and I also think that in the language of the contract, there is a 30-day or 90-day where they can get out of the contract. So,
The 90-day at the end of the contract.
yeah, so, okay. So it's been moved and supported. It's been discussed. Roll call on, let me read the item, so everybody knows what we're voting on. Resolution to authorize the mayor to sign the Oakland County Sheriff 2021-2022 law enforcement agreement with the city of Pontiac.
So moved.
No, it's already been moved. I just wanted to say that before the roll call.
What was it? You asked a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, only thing I was gonna say is, the only problem I have with all of it, and see, this is what 4 years have done. We get contract at the last hour. You need to look up the minutes for the last 4 years, how many contracts we had, and we are back up against the wall. I don't like voting with my back against the wall, because guess what? I'm gonna do what I think I need to do. Now, I understand what you're saying, Mr. President, in regards to the administration meeting with how many council members have met with the sheriff's office? Has anyone in this body been a part of the privy to the information that's working with the sheriff? See, that's the problem I have with all
I
these
have
contracts.
every month.
Well, you just told her she should have been at the meeting.
And that's right. Some
So,
of the
she's relying on you to
members
tell
have
her.
not.
I mean, you wouldn't tell her. She wasn't there. She was ill.
She knows when the meetings are. She
was
doesn't
sick.
bother to let you know. I don't know about that when I talked to her the week or the day,
Okay,
2 days
okay.
before. And I didn't hear anything about being sick then.
Okay. Roll call.
Petula,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks. Excuse me. Waterman,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller.
No.
5 yeas, 1 nay.
All right, which brings us to item number 14, resolution to approve a month-to-month agreement with Wade Trim for the City of Pontiac Building Services. Is there a motion?
So
Move.
moved. Support.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Well, there is one thing I want to say on this, Mr. President.
Yeah, go ahead.
before, I'm going to vote for the month-to-month, but I want to put it out in the vibe while I'm on the council. I think that Wade Trim should have been out of the city at least 15 years ago. And I'm hoping and praying that the next council and the next administration see so. And if not, I'm gonna be down here that mic every chance I get, because I know what they have done to this city. Absolutely nothing. And Wade Trim should get out of here and get another finance company to come in for the city of Pontiac.
Wade Trim with
Wade Trim should have been gone
Okay.
years ago.
Excuse me, okay. Anybody else?
Trim.
Yep. All right, roll call?
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks,
Yes.
Waterman,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Petula.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
All right. Which brings us to item number 4. Okay.
Mr. President, if you want me to start out on that one, item number 4, if I will.
Yeah, go
I put a pamphlet in all my colleagues' box last week in regards to the Pirate Center. That's been a pet peeve of mine for the last month with the building being open. We didn't authorize it. One of the issues of this 4 years of being on this body, of not doing our job sometimes, of not going over and closing that building. So I would stop pressing it. I would ask the administration, I'm going to ask them again tonight, give me a copy of the insurance. Now, when there was a report that was over there when I went over, and I had a report done. And in that, you stated that there was a document stating that we have a copy of the insurance, show us the copy of the contract rental lease, and the reason why they're over there as of right now, and when did we approve it? Because I've been sitting here and I know I haven't missed a meeting, and I know I didn't approve it. If the administration can answer those 3 questions for me, then I will leave the Pirate Center alone. I will go walk away and say, good, the kids are in a safe place. Until I get that, they are over there illegally, and I'm not gonna be held responsible if one child or any one child get hurt over there. Because from some of the residents I spoke to over there, some of the workers that was working there stated that they were still getting paid through the funds. Well, we restricted the funds. So how are they getting paid? So answer those questions, give me a copy, Mayor, all that. I'll be the first one to apologize, say, I'm sorry, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if you would like the administration to answer that.
Yes, please, Madam Mayor.
All right. First, I want to start by saying the citizens of Pontiac voted for a millage to allow the administration, and it is an administration function, to administer that millage for the services of providing youth recreation and enrichment activities, which we are doing. The millage money is reserved exclusively for that. When the council passed the millage, they then get the administration a certain budget to work with, and that's what we're doing. And I must say that we have provided for so many, several thousand families in the city of Pontiac, and I would think the council would join with us in being able to provide that services to our youth, which are much well received. In fact, we had a wonderful Christmas party yesterday for all the youth that have well attended, and they're getting really supplements and nourishment and social networking and all the things that the citizens had hoped for when they voted for the village, and we're continuing to do that. Now, the term illegal is a term I think that is being used advisedly. There's nothing illegal about them being in the building.
Show me the
Yes,
contract, Mayor.
we will. We will show you. In fact, Attorney Gibb is here to do that. He has been to this
Thank you.
council meeting on a number of occasions,
Okay.
telling you that we have all the things to run that center. The millage did call for the citizens to try to have a center.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. If you can have Mr. Gibbs present it.
About
Yeah,
the
yeah.
legality
If
of
you
it
can-
being
if you can
there,
let him
not only
talk
provided
so
by
we
the
can-
village, but also we have the insurance, we also have state
So
license.
can we get that presented to us, Madam Mayor?
All that there.
Mr. Gibbs,
Gibb is also here to speak.
yes, if you let him speak, please, thank you.
Thank you, Council President. To Councilwoman Miller's comments, you all have heard me speak ad nauseum about legality. So to answer your question specifically, I'll prepare. I did transmit to the Deputy Mayor confirmation that we did work with the Finance Director to confirm that the property continues to be on the general liability insurance for the city. And so I'll provide that documentation for you, as well as the original lease, the agreement from the landlord, Dr. Carl Byerly, and his corporation, that is his intent for us to continue without any type of eviction or other proceeding on behalf of the lease, so the lease would remain valid I'll also provide my opinion letter that I provided to the deputy mayor and to the mayor that supports all of that. I'll get that information, Council President, to everyone via email by tomorrow afternoon. I want to make sure that I've got everything sorted. I won't get to it today, but by tomorrow it'll be in everyone's inbox. As to the finance questions, I would leave that to Director Carrington. The mayor is correct that there is a millage that is administered by the administration. Those funds pursuant to that millage do have to be allocated in some way. My understanding is, and again, I'll leave it to the director, that general accounting practices have been followed to make sure that those principles have been followed. So I'll provide, Councilwoman Miller, all of your questions as to the legality of being there, the insurance question, the lease, the statement from the landlord, which allows us to remain in the property pursuant to the millage by tomorrow afternoon.
Mr. Gill, I have one question for you.
Yes, please.
How are you going to show me something that I didn't authorize? The last thing I seen was a resolution done June, end of a budget season, where we expressly showed it with our vote 7-0, the building to be closed. How are you going to show me anything if I'm a sitting council member and I didn't authorize for you to go? I never seen any contract that I signed for a holdover. You know, initially you guys was out doing it from site to site because I was out there distributing waters to different sites. So when winter set in, and we set aside half the money from the budget. So have you been dealing with that particular money, that restricted money that we put over for the kids, for the youth, when it didn't come before me for you to start receiving the money? That's all I want to know how that happened, that's all.
Mr. Gibb, you may not have been here, you may not know the resolution she's referring to. What she's referring to is the city council decided not to purchase the building from the owner.
Right.
We had an option to purchase, the council said not to purchase.
We cut the
it.
millage down too.
But the millage entitles the city still to provide the services to the youth, and that's what we're doing.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, for clarity, I just want to, if you're going to speak on what the council agreed to, we denied 2 resolutions. One was for the purchase of the building, and then it was myself who said we should go to a month-to-month, and you guys did not provide the information, and the council voted no on that additional subsequent resolution. So just to be clear, if you're going to send Mr. Gibbs to do some research, there are 2 resolutions that he needs to look at. One was for the non-purchase of the building. One was also to go month-to-month. After we disagreed to go month-to-month, we had a presentation, and I was not at that council meeting. I came after the meeting where the administration was reaming the council, saying that these kids are not going to have no place to go, et cetera, et cetera. How do you deny and you need to reconsider the millage? That is what happened in transparency. And so if you're going to tell a story, please just tell the whole story on how money got spent. We know that that building is operational right now because you have people in it. People are also getting paid in that building. The question that has been looming is, how is the building still on the city's general liability insurance without any resolution from the council allowing the mayor to enter into a contract? Once that lease was up originally, and you switched it to a month-to-month, that was a new document, which was a new contract that would require authorization from the council. What I'm saying to you is the original contract, the city council approved. So you were in your right for those 2 years plus or whatever to use Gulf Drive as a location. After it switched to a month-to-month, and you said that you guys were going to be evicted and you just needed time to move the equipment and furniture out of the building because the city didn't have any storage, that became a new document, and then Mr. Gibbs came up with the holdover solution, right?
No,
That-
what you're saying is both incorrect factually, but really incorrect on the law, Council President.
Okay.
So,
Please clarify to me.
so what I'll provide through the chair in answering, and Ms. Waterman, Councilwoman Waterman got very frustrated with me in June when I'm only here to protect the city legally. So what I indicated was this council approved the lease agreement. The lease agreement provides a certain term. It provides language that says that there's holdover provisions within the lease. That contract is still a valid and binding contract. The landlord has taken no action under the contract. The administration has accepted his notice to the city that they intend to take no action under that contract, and so it would continue. So that legal document was approved by this council, and it's a legally binding document. Now, there's lots of procedural things that could happen other than that. The things that were brought to the council, and and very good deference and respect to Councilwoman Willer, I will also provide, I drafted the proposed resolution to extend the contract, to not enter into a holdover status, and that's what was rejected. But the legal contract, the lease agreement, is still a valid legal document. Our insurance carrier recognizes it as a valid legal document. I, as special counsel, our city attorney, recognize it as a valid legal document.
So,
And so we have a
Attorney
valid,
Gibbs,
we have a
Attorney
valid
Gibbs,
right to be in the
hold
building.
on, one question.
Right.
When you're providing this documentation, what information has been presented to the insurance company, letting them know that the council did not approve the month-to-month or the continuation? You're saying they agree. I pay Progressive for my car insurance, right? They automatically renew it as long as I'm making my payments on my insurance. They don't ask me if my car is switched or anything else. What I'm saying to you is, if there is subsequent relevant documentation that needed to go to the insurance company, we need to see receipt of them not only been given that documentation, but their response to say that this is still good standing, even though you've made a major claim. Because being a holdover and operating program in a building is two separate things. If you vacate a building, but you still leave some kind of workout equipment on the facility, is one thing. But if you are operating, paying lights, gas, lease, and other things that have not been approved by the council, over $10,000, that is a problem. And so what I'm saying to you is, we need to have documentation that says that the insurance agency for the city knows that this is what you're doing, and knows that the holdover has been used to do the same exact programming and things that you were doing prior to the original lease expiring. Because if you haven't told them anything, of course the insurance company is going to be on board with what they were on board with last year if they think that no significant changes have been made.
Well, significantly, they're on board because they're being presented the law, and they're being presented the documents that have been approved. Now, I think there's a
Well,
little
have they
semantics,
been
President.
presented the documents that were not approved?
No, please.
That's what I'm asking you,
No,
Mr.
but
Okay.
there aren't any documents that weren't approved. And so in response to you, this council has not acted other than the approval of the lease, the rejection of buying the property, and the rejection of a new contract that would extend the lease. The city's operating under the lease document.
When did you do that, Mr. Gibbs? We never voted on the contract.
No, you-
Mr.
you
Gibbs, before I
voted-
forget,
you
please,
voted
while
to
you give me the
reject.
document, would you give me the amount that's left in the Pirates account when you,
I'm not the finance director.
well, Mr. Carrington, you can, I'm sure you can.
So the issue before the council, on the question to me is the legality of being there and the insurability of the property. And so this council rejected purchasing the property, and this council rejected a new document that would be extending the lease. That original lease document is an original document. There's been no other action by the council. The mayor, as the chief executive officer of the city, has the administrative powers to administer that property and that document as the mayor. She just does. It might disappoint everybody to hear that, but she does have the ability to do that.
All right,
Likewise,
Attorney
she has the
Gibbs.
ability to program the
Yep,
millage.
I'm going to recognize Attorney Sharp.
I'll just say arguably, I disagree. And I think that in the event that there were a situation this were challenged in court, it would be not upheld in terms of what Attorney Gibb is saying. For the reason that, again, the extension contract that you guys voted down, clearly for the 3-month extension, in addition to the language that was contained in that resolution that basically said they needed time to wind up in order to do reprogramming, which did not occur. So obviously and clearly, the intention of this document when it was presented to council was to let you know that we're trying to vacate, but we need time to move out. That did not happen. They're still occupying. So yes, I would agree that they probably do still have insurance. However, that insurance can be challenged in the event that a kid gets hurt because of the fact that there is no consent from council to occupy the premises. So you're holding over. You're saying that original agreement, because of the fact it had a provision in there for holding over, Dr. Byerly consented to that. Council did not. Clearly, the terms of this agreement show that your intention was to wind up and to move somewhere else. Council did not agree to hold over and continue to provide services at that location.
So, Council President, I'll be quiet, but I just have to protect myself from being sued because she just opened herself up to a malpractice.
No, you did. I didn't.
So that's a
doing it.
complete incorrect statement of law, and I have the most
Sharp
respect for
can't
Attorney
do it.
Sharp. The law is the law is the law. You cannot mix politics of being disappointed over budgetary aspects. That's something for you all and the mayor. and the finance director to debate in a different hour. The legality of whether we can be in the property is 100% legal. I've spent 30 years practicing real estate law and real estate development. It's almost all I do, Council President. And so I'm telling you 100% certainty on this record, I feel I need to do this because I don't want to get dragged into whatever that was just stated. So we have a legal a legal obligation to continue to insure the property under the original document approved by this council. Council has taken no further action except to reject those two things. You can read into it, and the public can read into it, that could council take other types of actions? Absolutely. I'm telling you, the status quo right now is the legal status quo, is that she has the authority to administer the millage dollars. He has the ability under the general accounting principles to understand how that's done. According to those principles, I have the responsibility to make sure you're lawfully there. Councilwoman Miller, I'll provide all that. All of your extra questions, Councilwoman, or Councilperson Williams, is going to require more time because you're asking the insurance carrier to provide responses and things that they've done. So I'm going to amend my timeline to.
No, you can present what you were going to present tomorrow, and then additionally answer those questions beforehand, because I will have a lot of free time after December 31st, so I will be able to read it.
I'll work as efficiently as I can for y'all.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item number 8.
Item under 8.
Number 5. Item number 5 is an emergency ordinance for the execution of supplemental pension payment for the police and fire retirees.
Yes, and I do have Mr. Carrington, who's here, to present that emergency resolution. This is essentially to allow the gap in coverage of insurance, which is due to start for the retirees as of February 1st, but that $400 temporary enhanced pension payment needs to be authorized by this council for police and fire. They won't have a gap in coverage during that January period until their health insurance starts. Mr. Carrington, you have something to add in terms of the resolution as presented.
Sure. Good afternoon, Council. As you know, this resolution that's before you is seeking to extend the temporary, what we refer to as the temporary supplemental payment for the police and fire retirees. This will deal with the current extension that will be expiring at the end of this month. We are presenting this. The expectation is that this benefit will be ending in January with the projected start of the healthcare benefits to be coming from the new VIVA. And again, those are expected to start on February 1st. So while we're requesting this extension to continue on for several months, we expect that it would only be necessary for the month of January. We have also included the required actuarial study that gives some information as to the cost of this. And we also point out that under the settlement agreement, the city is required to and expected to continue the this temporary supplemental payment up until the time that the benefits kick in.
All right, is there a move?
Move.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Taylor Burks. Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Shramsky.
Yes.
4 yeas, no nays.
All right. Item number 8 is a resolution to set a special election for May 3rd, 2021 to elect the charter commissioners.
Move.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Shramsky.
Yes.
Taylor Burks. 4 yeas, no nays.
All right, which brings us to item number 9, resolution to authorize the city clerk to post notice of a proposed budget amendment for fiscal year 2021-2022 in the Oakland Press to amend the election 191 and clerk 215 budget to cover expenses for special elections and charter commission.
Move.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Shramsky.
Yes.
Taylor Burks. 4 yeas, no nays.
All right, resolution to change the city council meeting on December 30th, 2021 at 12 p.m. to December 28th, 2021 at 12 p.m.
Move.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes?
Taylor Burks. Williams.
Yes.
4 yeas, no nays.
Which brings us to item number 13.
Mr. Sadiq is here from DPW. This is a housekeeping item. He will present that.
Yeah, so the DPW applies to MDOT for an annual permit to perform utility maintenance and other emergency repairs and routine repairs to city utilities such as street lighting and storm sewers on, MDOT jurisdiction roads such as Woodward, Huron, et cetera. So as part of the annual permit, this MDOT's requiring a performance resolution, which is basically the terms and conditions of the annual permit. They're asking us to provide an updated performance resolution.
Mr. President, it's housekeeping. You want to, we could vote for it. I move.
Okay. Is there support?
Support.
All right. Attorney Sharp? Okay. All right. Seeing none, roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Shramsky,
Yes?
Taylor Burks. Williams.
Yes.
4 yeas, no nays.
All right. Moves us to item number 16.
Number 16, Mr. Chair, relates to a planning commission recommendation regarding Epiphany Studios, well-known, famous worldwide for the glass works. I think April Wagner is here. Is that you behind the mask? Who is here, the owner of that, and this is regarding not only an economic development project that she has brought to the city. She's gotten a $100,000 grant for because everybody knows the outstanding productions that she's done, many of which she's graced notable structures within the city. So I'm very happy to have known her. Some of you have been there for her glassworks studio, and the beautiful work that she's done around the world is fantastic. She is certainly being one of the arts community that we have right here in Pontiac, and I want her to stand and be recognized so you can see her, masked and hooded. And this is the planning commission recommendation for this particular item. Mr. Augustus is not here to present that, so I'm doing this to pick up.
Okay. Excuse me. Can the applicant come to the microphone and tell us what you're planning on doing?
My studio is located at 770 Orchard Lake Road, and next to that building, I am building a 2,600 square foot addition. And the reason I'm before council today is because the property is actually listed as two separate parcels. Been paying taxes on both parcels and thought that I owned them when I bought the original property, but it turns out that the small wedge parcel on the side, which I'm not actually building on, it's the space between my building and the neighbors, is deeded to the city. And to close on my mortgage, I need the deed to be quitclaim deeded over to me.
Council President, if I could just add a brief comment to that. It's my understanding the property owner has been paying taxes on that property since 1996, even though it was city-owned.
Okay. Sounds good. Councilwoman Shramsky, this is your district.
I have absolutely no problem with this.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Is there a motion?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Shramsky,
Yes.
Taylor Burks,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
4 yeas.
All right, which brings us to item number 17, 18, and 19, and 20. They can all be received. And then that brings us to public comments. Ms. Swayzer.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Swayzer, And I want to once again say, for those people that didn't hear me last week, the $400 is off the table. The mayor and CPRA did not agree to have you get $400 permanently. It was $59 million that had to come out of the money to be split between GERS and the new VIVA. The new VIVA did not want you to get the $59 million. And since we could not have it, GERS cannot keep the money. Therefore, you will not get the $400. Some people have asked me since then, can they get it in 6 months? No, you can't get it in 6 months. You have to have another actuarial study within the funds that are in GERS and see if those can be done. And you have to pay for the actuarial study, which was $3,000 this time. So you have to ask, if you want another actuarial study, ask how much it costs, then pay for it. And then see if their money is there, and if not, and if council, who is the only people that can give you the benefit, if council says yes. So you're not gonna get the $400. You're here today, they're gonna do emergency ordinance next week so that you get it for January. Hopefully your insurance will kick in February 1st. For those people that contacted me during the past week about when they're gonna get paid $20,000, you've known about this since March or April of 2021. Please don't call me no more. Because I don't write any checks for the city. I can't tell you when you're gonna get paid. The money was passed, a resolution was passed by GERS to send the money to the city of Pontiac, so they'll have the money sometime next week. Well, no, this week. So they get the money. When they get ready to send it to you, you'll get it. So you had, for those people that wanted to do all of a sudden payroll deductions and stuff, you had 6 months to look out for that and get that done. You should be more thoughtful of your own self. You should not wait till the last minute to try to get money. And don't tell anybody you're getting it, because we're all coming to ask you for some money. So thank you in having it. I want to tell the council people here, because next week I'll tell the other ones, thank you for the job you've done. Thank you for the consideration you've given to the retirees. I will appreciate it, and appreciate I'll tell Randy Carter that, because he is in my district. Thank you for the help you've given. I want to thank each one of you for all the work that you've done. Thank you, Mr. City Clerk, for being so responsive to my request and for my request for information. You have an excellent staff, and I want to thank y'all all for taking the time to deal with us hard-headed citizens and get done for us what you could. Thank you.
All right, Pastor Kathy.
Okay, everybody got thanked that sits up there. Nobody thanked Garland. I know he's a city employee, gets paid by the city. However, he sits through this week after week after week and does what he's asked to do. And I think he should be thanked as well. And while I'm thanking him, I put out a request last week for some information. I got information from 192 sources. Garland, thank you for posting that. The state called me. Several people called me. If you ask for something around here, sometimes you get it. Not to bring up an ugly subject like Meals on Wheels, but there are several other agencies in Pontiac that are feeding people that could use help. That's not to denigrate Meals on Wheels. There are people that would need it all were it not for Meals on Wheels. But there are other places in Pontiac that feed. I know that firsthand because I've been doing it now for over 6 years. And I know how hard it is. It costs approximately $100 a week, 5 meals. That's five days of meals per person that you feed. Those aren't grand meals, people. That's pasta, and that's stews, and it costs money. And so Meals on Wheels been around a long time, and they live off what people give them. They're supported by contributions like what we're asked to do today. And although there are others of us that could use some of that money, I don't think we should necessarily not give it to them. I think when the next time comes around, we need to look at all the people that are feeding people. And my last thing today, next to the last, I used to teach in that building over on Gulf Drive. Dr. Byerly was a student back then. My understanding is he doesn't own the building anymore, that it has been changed. He does still own it? Okay. I had been told that it was in the process of being changed over. So, okay, that eliminates that question. The other thing was, I just want to say thank you for your years of service, be they 4 or 12. Not an easy road. We appreciate you.
All right, our last speaker today is Angela Allen.
Angela Allen. I'm actually here on behalf of Perry Earl and Marcus Bowman to present Mr. Kermit Williams with an award for the great work you've done in the community and all your services, and for the canvas and foam baking grassroots that you put together and help with them. So on behalf of Perry Earl, Marcus Bowman, this award is for you.
Oh,
thank you. And also, huge thank you to Meals on Wheels, because my father is a veteran, and he gets meals from Meals on Wheels a couple different times I know of. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to closing comments. Madam Mayor.
I'm glad to start the closing comments, and as we give you greetings on this holiday season. Also, we're preparing both the mayor and the whole council for transition. I have been dedicated to a smooth transition as a policy to make the city have the best path forward. We've already been in touch with the oncoming administration. In fact, there was a surprise celebration given for me on December the 12th, and Tim Grimal was the first one who RSVP'd to come in that celebration. So I just want to show that we're moving forward in a way that is productive and helpful for the city of Pontiac. Also, I gave my final State of the City, farewell State of the City, at the beautiful M1 main event concourse. And at that, we again spelled out the legacy projects that are transformational that we're handing over to the next administration that we have achieved as a council and a city together. And I'm just going to go through those just to remind people, because they are very significant in terms of the transformation and progress of Pontiac. Of course, we talked about fiscal solvency. I started out with a $12 million deficit my first year. I'll be handing over a working budget of about $71 million to the next administration with ARP money, opioid settlement money, plus our own revenue budget. That's a big war chest to start with. They can do some good with that. The fact now that we've increased so many business and jobs, we've talked about that. That's another legacy project. The fact that we now have the Woodward Loop configuration, that's in the books. MDOT is guaranteed to do that for us. That's going to make a big change for the city we've been waiting for 25 years. Such things as you heard about retiree health. We're actually able to get that done during the administration. That personally is very much of a fulfillment for me. The retirees are going to get their health care cards as of January 1st, and they will have their health care restored after 9 years when it was terminated by the emergency manager. And yes, the amount of the permanent enhanced pension benefit is still on the table. It was sidetracked a little bit by, as you said, we've heard all about the GERS board going on. But we still, as administration proposal that I brought to the council in April, the finance director is going to bring a resolution to you next meeting, December 28th. It's still possible to get this done for our retirees. Let's do it. The Phoenix Center settlement, okay, that was also a huge win as the legacy, and the kinds of things that are vision and the vision for that are huge. In addition to that, we handled all this during a pandemic, and one of the things that we did was still to have the greatest period of economic growth since the start of General Motors here in the city of Pontiac. We should be proud of that. And the other thing is the youth center. One of the things that I did promise the citizens of Pontiac when I first run, what I would be try to restore the youth center. And it's dismaying to me that as we have done that, and we have a youth center for our children, that there's so much time and energy wasted on talking about how we shut down.
That's your time.
As opposed
That's
to
your
talking
time.
about how
That's
we're
your time, Madam
providing
Mayor. That's your time.
wonderful activities
Mr.
for our
Clerk,
youth,
Mr. Clerk,
which should be
Mr. Clerk,
what we
thank
should
you.
be having our site
Excuse me,
set up. Okay.
no comment, Mr. President, thank you.
All right, Attorney Sharp.
Wish everybody a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you.
Councilwoman Taylor Burks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to wish everyone here a very happy and safe holiday. Enjoy your families and just have fun. It seems like time just has passed. And to let you know that I thank each and every one of you for your support. When I'm out of order, you let me know when the meeting's over, and I appreciate that because that's the way you learn how to do what you need to do. And the president and I have shared quite a bit together because when I first came aboard, no one was a member of anything. And when I guess up in Lansing, they must have found my name or something, and they sent me a letter wanting me to they said that Pontiac was the only one that didn't have a representative in that group. So I jumped on to Mr. President, and I said, you're going to join. I've already joined. You are going to join, and you are going to go to these different things. So we was going up and down the highway, but when we got there, and he met a lot of people, and they fell in love with him, and they forgot about me. And he realized that it was something that he really enjoyed because it was younger people there. And they just took to him. And as a matter of fact, I still got some pictures that we took. And we had, that is what I am about, is working with the younger people. And I stay on their cases. They say, oh, well, no, I'm old and I'm tired. So that's why I'm trying to get you involved, and that's what we need to do. And, we complain that the young people are not doing this we have to take the time to talk to them and see what, and explain to them, well, you live here and this is happening and you need to be a part of that. I'm going to be going on to glory and you're going to still be here. So that is what I'm all about. And I stay on his case all the time. And I am so proud of him. I'm very, very proud of him. And I wish him well. And he knows that whatever his plan is, if he calls me, I might, bless him out a little bit, but he know I'm going to be right there to help him. So I wish everyone a very, very happy holiday. Enjoy your family, because with all this crazy stuff that's going on now, it's just scary. So let's pray for each other and enjoy our family, and then come back and start over again. Happy holiday.
All right. Councilwoman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mine's not going to be so joyous. I always have to speak truth. It's been these 4 years probably been of all the positions I ever did in my life, was the most disturbing one I ever had. And what I mean by that is, today I was sitting here and just going out of office, I see that the mayor have a attorney still doing things her way that we have no knowledge of. This is no way to run a government. What I learned, Pontiac got a lot of growing to do. What I see It's not good. I know everybody thinking the new council coming in, the new mayor. Until we make the new makeup in this city, it's tribal politics in Pontiac. If they don't like you, they get rid of you. They don't like what you say, they get rid of you. That's one thing I learned from my parents. That's why I stand by myself. I'm not gonna get a lot of awards because people don't like me because I speak the truth. I'm just gonna speak the truth. I don't know anything else to do. And with that being said is the best part of my job was my constituents. When I stayed on the street, I loved out there. That's where I'm going back to. Because it's about I got my neighbor across the street. I'm still there, Glow, for you whenever you need me. But I don't like the politics of this city. It's rough, it's ugly, it's mean. And the people that's trying to do the right thing, they criticize you and demean you because you're trying to do the right thing. So they go and pick who they want to do it. I've never been a yes person. Only person I answer yes to is with my constituents. And that's who I'm always going to answer to. The youth center, I came from the youth center. I worked in the youth center, raised my kids up in the youth center. And it disturbs me to hear attorneys stand up at the podium saying it's legal, that we voted for something that we know we didn't vote for. It's disturbing, Pontiac, to come in a city like this. People talk about us because they have reason to. We don't expect more of our city. They said we take anything. That's why they put anything in it, because we don't stand up. I don't care who it is. If my mother was alive, she'll tell you this. When she wrong, she wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong. There's a way you do things, and you do it right. You do it within the law. You do the right thing. And one thing I can say for coming up here, I'm leaving the way I came, speaking truth to power and standing only for truth. Never sold my constituents out, never will. Didn't take the job for money, don't need it. Not gonna miss a beat. That's why I'm gonna start traveling. I'm gonna go a little bit. But as long as I live in Pontiac and something come through 5 ain't right, I'm here. Because I know everything about 5. I know what they need, I know what their wants are, I know what their concerns are. I'm not gonna be like a lot of council and just fade away. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not fading anyway. Actually, I'm fading in, but I'm gonna be on the other end. I just feel that you just pray for Pontiac because it is a mess here. The politics. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Councilwoman Sharansky.
Yeah, I'm not going to be so cheerful either. I have asked this several times. I'm going to ask it one last time. I don't think I can get it done, but I'll be over there from the mic asking to get it done. I would like the tenant relocation ordinance passed, please. Right to counsel for tenants passed, please. I've given it to you over 2 months ago. I would really like to see something happen with that. And I am a public servant more than a politician. I don't take big money from anybody. If anybody ever looked at my website, I deliberately did not have the donation button working. And people said, well, why doesn't it work? Because I don't want surprise donations. I only want small donations from my citizens. I don't take business donations, so just let me clear that up right now. And sitting up here, how can I say this nicely? You're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. Sometimes you have toxic waste to choose from, and sometimes you merely have excrement, and you just have to make the choice. Sometimes you don't have a good choice. You have to do the best you can. And I hate to be so negative, but maybe I'll be more cheerful next week. So happy holidays to everyone.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. So just really quickly, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Please keep Veronica Taylor in your prayers. She told me to let the council know she was in a bad accident yesterday, but she's all right. So please keep her in the prayers. And I know the grassroots people is her people. So thank y'all for that award. And with that, we're going to adjourn this meeting at 1:56.